My name is Alexander Armenkov, and I'm starting my live on Facebook, where I would like to present you something regarding the Beyond Success reality. So I'm going to share now my screen, and we are starting. So the big question is how to daily build Beyond Success reality for generational wealth. And I would like to present to you the 4 quadrants of reality and how they interact with each other. What is reality and why it is dissected this way? This is the second question we are going to answer. And then influencing reality's 4 quadrants. And then specifically, we are going to focus on the 4th quadrant, the Wealth Creation Quadrant, that validates who we are. Why are we multiplying creatures? This is what I would like to share with you today. And let's start with what is actually reality and why I am always using these 4 quadrants in order for all of us to understand what reality is, because basically reality is primarily within our head. Everything that is happening in the outer environment, we are able to understand it only because of our ability to decode this information from the 5 senses and to create something. Because of the quadrant number 1, the individual internal, everything that comes from the outside reality, we start to go through our awareness, perception, consciousness, subconsciousness, dream visualization, memory of experiences, pattern recognition, predictability, projections, and all of these things that are inside of our head that have wired our brain. They are helping us to decode the objective reality. The problem is that every one of us, when we enter this planet, we are without any of these things in the quadrant number 1. So what is happening then is that through our families first and through our environment in the first years of our life, we are understanding what is the meaning of the quadrant number 1. We understand little by little how our brain is decoding all the outside information. In the beginning, we are just blended with reality 100%, and little by little, we are disidentified from reality based on our understanding of quadrant number 1. A lot of people are stopping only here for all of their life. They're just willing to grasp it and to understand this quadrant number 1, and they're not interested in anything else that there is in reality. So if you want to only go into the quadrant number 1 and to stay in your personal development journey and just to want to be someone that is constantly improving himself in the quadrant number 1, it is okay, but reality has a purpose and a meaning. And the purpose of reality is not only to stay in this quadrant. And since today's message is basically about how to create wealth and why wealth is important for all of us as human beings, then I would like to speak with you how we actually can go as a human being into the interaction with specifically the quadrant number 4. I'm going to go just for a second from the other quadrants. The quadrant number 2 is actually your individual external. This is your body. The problem with your body is that you are seeing it daily. You know it is specific, you know it's individual, and so on and so on. Yes, it is individual, and yes, it is part of your external thing. This is everything that people are watching at. Did you know why when Adam and Eve ate from the fruit, the first thing they felt is that they were naked? They were ashamed that they were naked. So what actually they experienced, they realize that they have this quadrant number 2, their body, and that everyone in the objective reality can see their body. Since their quadrant number 1 and quadrant number 2 were 100% connected, they felt naked. They said, I'm 100% transparent, I'm 100% seen, everything that I am is totally vulnerable. I have a body, and now I find my first need. I want to be clothed. I want to be covered. Why we as human beings are willing to put layers upon ourselves in order nobody to see what is within our quadrant number 1, and more importantly, what is our core. Well, this is the quadrant 2, our bodies. If we learn not to be ashamed of our quadrant number 2, of course, I'm not propagating all of us to go naked around the world and to have the naked society. But for sure, if you are not afraid and ashamed of your inner being and who you actually are, only then you can experience how life is actually working. The quadrant number 3 is everything that we as human beings have already come to conception and understanding and all the knowledge. Yes, it is invisible. Yes, we interact. A lot of us think that we are inventing new things, that there are and there is something new that should be discovered. No, there is not something new. The only thing that there is in the collective internal is how much more do we dare to express as human beings in order our collective internal to be much more vibrant. It is only showing us that we cannot live in a separation, but that we are 100% and non-stop connected. That's why this quadrant number 3 is important, because in this quadrant number 3 is also all the knowledge about wealth. All your beliefs about wealth are in quadrant number 3, and everything that you think about wealth creation is also in quadrant 3. 99% we are programmed not to go after wealth, not to go after excess, not to go after wealth creation. Well, in quadrant number 4 is the nature, the universe, the cosmos, the construct, the physical materiality, everything that is outside of us that we are watching and monitoring daily. A lot of us are monitoring nature, but there are some of us that live in big cities that mostly we see civilization, industrialization, technology, so we don't have so much attachment to the real nature. Also in quadrant number 4 are all the generational wealth, money, and assets. So this is important to understand why we as human beings need to actually express ourselves in quadrant number 4, and 90+% of the human beings are expressing themselves in quadrant number 4 through their asset, which is themselves. The biggest asset that we are is what we are and who we are, and we are exchanging ourselves for money. It is okay, because anyhow we are managing this first asset that we have, but long term, if you want to be wealthy, you need to understand that there are much more assets than primarily yourself. If you think that you can build wealth and excess only by giving away yourself for money, then maybe in your quadrant number 3, where are your beliefs? You need to work long term and see and understand that there is a loop created there. And that's why your expression in quadrant number 4 is only a worker. Alex, there are no other possibilities for me. The only way I can move into this reality is only if I'm able to work. Give me work. If I have a better work, if I have a better position, if I'm in a big multinational company, if I'm a CEO of a company, only then I can become rich and affluent, and only then I can move strongly into quadrant number 4 and express who I am. Well, actually, the quadrant number 4 and in the interaction between you as a human being, all the time your quadrant number 4 is exactly showing you where you are. That's why I'm using this terminology. All the time, track your money. Even if in the moment you have $5,000 or 5,000 euro or 10,000 euro, or you don't have a house, you're renting, your biggest goal is to save $50,000 before retirement, or your biggest desire is one day to retire and to have your pension. It is okay. It is only showing you what is your belief system in quadrant number 3 and how is your actual expression within yourself about the interaction between you and reality. There is so much more than you can do with yourself and with everything that is around if you're willing to deep dive into all these quadrants. The most important thing is to understand that the biggest asset that exists wherever you look at, first we know the asset, which is ourself, but the second and the primary asset of everything is the creator of all the construct. If you are able to be connected to the source, then you have the two biggest assets, yourself and the source together moving through reality. This is how I'm living my life from 17-year-old when I believed in God till today. Of course, the label of God is different for all of us, but remember, the biggest asset is in the universe, in the construct, in reality, in your head, even if you don't believe in anything else, is that there is something beyond. That's why I have called this program Beyond Success Reality, because you need to understand that what is happening outside of you, what is beyond the construct of reality, is important, because the only power that we as human beings have is to be positioned. If we are positioning ourselves in alignment with the creator behind the universe, only then we can move through reality in 100% success, in 100% confirmation between reality and who we are, and we can create abundance of flows into the system of reality. Well, Alex, it looks like it's very interesting, but how is it possible this to be done in the normal everyday reality? Yes, it is possible when you understand that if you are positioned in alignment with the creator, then you look into the universe and you see that there is excess and abundance everywhere. Well, Alex, why lack exists then? Why we have daily needs then? Well, this is created also for a reason. All the limitations around you are created for a reason, in order you, a limitless being, to be able to rise up, to express yourself, to start innovating, to start multiplying, and to learn that you can create something out of thin air. Yes, it looks impossible. Yes, it is not by your power. But once you decide that you can, once that you decide that you deserve to be wealthy, one that you decide that you can be beneficial if you are wealthy, only then the possibilities will start arising around you. When you are looking into reality for a possibility, of course, one of the things is to start looking for better job, for more money, and so on. But long term, the only thing you need to look for in reality are assets. There is no other way for a human being to move through reality and to gain riches in reality that long-term can be used as a benefit for all the others if you don't see and spot the assets. There is no other possibility for wealth creation to come. If you think that wealth is going to come for all these 8 billion people just from the skies, it's not possible, because this is not how the creation and how the construct of reality works. Everybody of us, the 8 billion people around the planet, have limitless potential within us. We live in our own limitations. Of course, if now I was put into Africa, I was going to have different limitations than in Europe, where I'm placed right now. But anyhow, wherever you are, you start seeking for the small assets. And in order to acquire assets, because all of us know, well, Alex, assets are very expensive. I can never have assets. It is not for me. I can never have an apartment that I can rent. I can never have a company. I can never buy stocks. I can never buy shares. I can never do investments. Why are you talking about me? You are just willing to tell me that it is so hard and it is never going to happen for me. Well, if you change your quadrant number 3, your belief system, and you, instead of becoming a consumer of life, instead of using all your money to just consume them, in the end of the month to have nothing left, better start having as little as possible of your money to be dedicated long-term for buying assets. Then the only possibility you have is to little by little acquire assets. And after you acquire assets, they're starting to do their thing. I'm just going to share with you one short story I shared in my webinar about the wealth creation. Is how me and my wife, when we were married in 1999, we started our wealth creation journey. During the marriage, we were able to acquire approximately $3,000 from all our relatives that were on the wedding, and so on and so on. A lot of you that are living in India or other parts of the world, you know that during the wedding season, once you are married, there are some money that is possible to be gathered for the new family in order they to start their new life. So we gathered this money, we didn't spend them, we separated them aside, and then we started every month to save $100. So within 3 years, we were able to acquire assets that costed $17,000. Our first apartment, it was in 2002 or 2003, and it was $17,000. Till this moment, we were able to save something like $5,000-6,000. Then my wife was working in a multinational company with budgets and so on. So she was able also to take some of her money up front. So we paid the apartment. We had additional 2-3 years while we were living only in one salary, because the other salary was taken up front to buy the apartment. But anyhow, we were able in 5 years to have $17,000 asset acquired. So we had only one intent: to have an asset. So Still then, we didn't thought about this as an asset. We thought this is a necessity to have your private apartment, your private house, and so on. But long term, I realized, of course, some of you maybe have read the book Poor Dad, Rich Dad, where assets are very well explained. An asset is something that can give you additional money without you involving yourself strongly, especially with time, into this. So this asset, which costs $17,000 because of appreciation, because this is the beautiful things about assets, more of them long-term are appreciating in value. So once you have an asset, you have something that is multidimensional. First, it gives you money. Second, it becomes more valuable with time. And if you manage it well, it becomes even much more valuable because it's giving you more and more money as of a return. So the asset is something that is valuable because it creates daily and monthly cash flow. So our first asset, we actually use the capital gain because $17,000 when we bought it became $30,000 when we decided to sell it in 2 years in order to buy another land. And then we used this capital gain. We sold our first apartment, and then we bought land that costed $20,000. So we didn't spend the money. We just transformed them from one asset into another asset. And long term, what happened is that this other asset that we bought for $20,000 is now costing more than $300,000 today's money after 20 years. So this is money accumulation that we never did ourselves with our own powers. It was something that was done from the construct of reality, from the system, the way it is created. So the system is created to build wealth based on the building blocks of wealth and their assets. So if this is the only thing you remember from today's life and from this message, it is quite enough. So remember, you are a limitless being and you have 4 quadrants through which you express yourself, and you need to learn to work within your mind, where is your awareness, your consciousness, everything that is inside. You need to work with your body to be healthy, to be vibrant, to move you wherever you want. You need to learn to work with all the knowledge that there is in the available for humanity, but not to go only after knowledge, but long-term to use it and to influence quadrant number 4. Because for a lot of people, the material world is one of the most important things. For the spiritual people, the material world is one of the most hated things. For me personally, in order to be balanced, you need to have this material world in order to validate your spirituality, because it is showing you how much in the moment you are able to express yourself, how much in the moment you are aligned with source, and how much in the moment you are able to manifest and long-term to influence the physical matter reality. So thank you for watching, and enjoy working also in quadrant number 4. And if you are stirred up to really influence your reality and to start the processes of wealth creation, follow me, follow my webinars. I have created a 1-month program also where I'm expressing in deep dive how to build your wealth creation. I am doing it for myself. I'm not going to share with you a lot of books that you can read. You can read if you want millions of books. It will not help you. The only thing that helps is if you learn how to use the 4 quadrants and to really deep dive into daring to interact with reality, and then long-term, all the books and all the knowledge is going to help you, of course, but because you are the moving star, because you are now the one who is really taken his or her positioning, limitless being, experiencing daily limitation, but knowing how to daily influence these limitations and create more space for the limitlessness to be expressed. Bye-bye, and thank you for watching.